Hey, how's it going there, folks? This is a request video, and it's about the secret space program. So I haven't really thought about what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to wing it because it's not that complicated. You know what I mean? The first thing is, the way the military works. First of all, we get all of our technology, all fucking 5 of my phones, all 6 of my phones, they're all military technology originally. And I know for a fact from selling electronics for so many years, I sold electronics from 1990 up until 2000. And then I sold high-end electronics from 2006 to 2008. And now, for the last, since 2011, I've owned my own smart home technology company. See, there's my card right there. You see what I'm saying? See, and I know for a fact, and I used to always bring it up back in the 90s when I was selling electronics on the retail floor. I would say that, the controllers, whoever's in control, the corporations or whatever, they keep America technologically behind the rest of the world about 3 to 5 years. So if now that's being the case, and our American military is the most prolific military, that would mean that our military is selling the stuff to other countries technologically before they sell it to us. They sell it to other countries and make the profit. They let the other countries manufacture it and sell it to us, and they still make money off that because of intellectual property and all that. So that being the case, and I've heard good stories that I believe that they had little cell phones, little flip phones, and little digital cameras in the military, in the special forces, all the way back in the 40s, even the late 30s. So the highest tech military equipment. So let's see. So that's what? That's 60, 70. That's 80 years. So if they keep us behind here 3 to 5, say 5 to 7 years behind the rest of the world technologically, that's the American consumer market. And you figure that technology of the flip phone didn't come out till about 1995 or 6. So that's 60 years, you see. So it's just telling you that the technology is way, way, way ahead. Now, if you look at what would it take for another race, another alien race to be able to come to the earth? Or what would it take for our technology to be able to go somewhere that they claim as far away as it is or whatever, right? You have to be going pretty fast, right? So if star travel is the case, like they're saying, star travel or whatever, and you have to get somewhere that's like, I don't know, so many hundreds of millions of thousands of miles away or whatever, you have to go pretty fast to get there in the amount of time that it would take, to where the people going wouldn't get old and die, right? If you want to get there in 4, 5, or 6 years or whatever, see what I'm saying? So now there's way too much information that leaks out about, the Nazis and the saucer craft technology. There's way too many stories in our ancient books about stuff that's, sounds like advanced flying technology, like in the Hindu literature, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Ramayana, in the Popol Vuh, that's the some of the South American texts. In the Bible, you hear there's a few stories in there that just sound like that. You know what I mean? So, but the Nazis, of course, obviously were the ones that figured the technology out. And so we call it saucer technology or whatever. And so you take a look at that, and you have to figure out that based on that, that somebody would have figured out how in the ancient world the Nazis would have garnered or gathered that information. So it would have been either from the earth in the ancient world, right? Or it would be from current extraterrestrials or current technology that's advanced beyond ours. That could be secret or it could be extraterrestrial, right? Okay, so now the best information that I've got, which I believe to be true about the pyramids all around the world, is that the pyramids are they're multi-resonant systems. So they have multiple purposes. But one of the main purposes of them, especially, let's just take for instance the Great Pyramid of Giza, and the configuration of the pyramid is obviously it's a battery or a power source of some sort. And so the pyramids are they are platforms for the building of magnetic starships. And the devices that you see surrounding the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and the stela and the motifs are telling you the story of what's really going on. We just don't know exactly what we're looking at. So, I'm saying all that to say that once they figure out the fact that these ancient pyramids, all these pyramids around the world are actually platforms for building magnetic starships, and the configuration of the pyramid itself, as well as the interior configuration of the pyramid, especially the Great Pyramid, is what helps to create the thrust for takeoff for the magnetic saucer starships. And then they're controlled by, I know that in Egypt, in ancient Kemet, in ancient Egypt, they were controlled by, they are magnetic starships. So the way it works is that's why very many of them aren't found, because in magnetism, the way these starships work is that if it goes up, that's actually falling down, and then down is up for the way the magnetism works. It's the way the magnetic system works. So you see this the Eye of Horus, which is also a multi-resonant system. It has to do with seeing viscerally, but that's another story. But it also is the model for the trim tabs for the magnetic starships. So the starships move this, they move in and out, they move that way, they move up, they move down, they move whatever. The Eye of Horus thing is just how you move the trim tabs, and that's the way that the craft will go. See, and it uses the magnetic system of the planet as well as the stars. That's why it was so interesting and so important for the Egyptians to have a bead on the stars, because they could use the magnetics of the various bodies to navigate the quote-unquote heavens with the magnetic starships, with the magnetic starships. So, and then those starships can fly at the speed of light, as well as they can mock the speed of light. In order, they can fly at the speed of light, times the speed of light, times the speed of light, times the speed of light, and then so that belies a little interesting explanation about Einstein's configuration of energy equals speed, energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, when it's energy equals mass times the speed of light cubed. And so as far as a secret space program goes, I mean, if you figure, if our military budget is what this year is 800 billion, it's just in America. Okay, so that's what they tell you about. So if it's 800 billion, what they tell you about, knowing how the secret government operates, that would mean, you know, that the real budget for it is probably somewhere around $4 or $5 trillion. And if that's the case, what are they doing with all the money? Well, you remember, now you see some of these movies and stuff like that, like Armageddon or with Bruce Willis or whatever, and they give you little hints and little peeks as to what, you know, even the shuttle program can really do. I mean, they were showing you that shuttle can really fucking fly like you wouldn't believe, you know, with those thrusters, the 3 thrusters in the back of it, and blah 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 blah, you know. So that's just something we know about. And they got the space stations up there or whatever. That's just something we know about. So they tell you, for instance, you know, oh, we're going to go to Mars. It's going to take us this many years to get there. We're going to have a Mars rover going there. They already been to fucking Mars. They've been there. They've been there plenty of times. If they tell you some shit like, oh, we're going to go to, we're going to fly past Pluto. So we're going to fly past Jupiter. We're going to fly past Saturn. We're going to fly past, you know, that's all bullshit. They've been there. It's just for public consumption. They'll just tell you that stuff for public consumption. I mean, you remember even when they showed you that Voyager flight, when it went past Jupiter or whatever, or Saturn, or whichever one's got the Titan moon, when it went around the planet and it came on the other side, it disappeared for like, you know, for like 4 or 5 hours. They couldn't, you know, they said they couldn't see the motherfucker. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So the secret space program, I mean, now they got other stuff, you know, in that program. Because one of the biggest things in that program is cloning. And, you know, Bill Cooper, Colonel William Cooper, he did all those videos about Mystery Babylon. And you remember in Babylon, the Levites secretly worshipped a giant snake named Leviathan, which was an androgynous snake. It was a hermaphrodite. And it was a worm, a W-Y-R-M. So I don't see why they would stop doing whatever the fuck they were doing. See what I'm saying? So, you know, so you would see that one of the programs, because in the Illuminati system, in the high Freemasonry, the perfected being is hermaphrodite. It's an androgyne, and we know that they're trying to transsexualize us, because all they show us on fucking TV and in Hollywood is every other person's, you know, almost every person that we see is either a rape model, a transsexual, an ideological transsexual, or they're gay and we just don't know it. You see what I'm saying? So this cloning technology that they got, you know, that you got a glimpse of through the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that shit's all super perfected now. I mean, they don't have to go through all that, you know, pod and growing a person in a pod and all that kind of shit anymore. They have very, very, very fast means of doing it. And you know that from listening to Linda Moulton Howe. When you listen to her videos, you have to listen to the whole thing. If it's 2 hours and 28 minutes, you gotta listen to the whole fucking video. She ain't gonna get into the meat of nothing until about an hour into the shit, and for about 45 minutes. And then go back to some surface shit that don't, you know, anybody knows. So listen to her videos, you gotta listen to them really closely, listen to the whole thing, and you gotta listen to it like, you know, the middle part is what really matters and shit in her videos. She talks all about that cloning. And so you know that what that means is that technology that they're using, that Illuminati technology, they're just trying to use it to fulfill their own prophecies. You see what I'm saying? The prophecies of the second coming, the prophecies of, because in the Illuminati system, they think that Jesus was a divine hermaphrodite. You see what I'm saying? I know I'm jumping around, but it is relative. It is very relative what I'm saying. So, but as far as the secret space program goes, there's no doubt that that's legitimate. There's no doubt that that's what they're up to. It's just no doubt no doubt about it. I mean, you even see Trump come out and say, "Oh, we should start a space program." Space Force. Like he's being so disclosive. He's being above board and open about. He's the savior. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no doubt the secret space program is legitimate. There's no doubt that we've been in contact with extraterrestrials. There's no doubt that there's extraterrestrials on the planet. There's no doubt that we have advanced technology that goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years that, it's not revealed to the general public. You see stuff that is quote unquote conspiracy videos. Like I saw this one video by Project Camelot, which was it had this guy named Michael Schratt, and now he shows you some of the advanced technology that that he can get a hold of as far as the explanations for. So if you just think if he can get a hold of that stuff he's getting a hold of, what really exists? You see, what really exists? You see, so. I mean, I'm sure that they probably know how to. They probably know how to make magnetic starships that can, there's no. They don't fly. They simply operate on magnetism. So they're not really flying. They're moving. They're moving through time and space magnetically. So that's why they can move at different angles and speeds and do different stuff that defies, and assaults our perception as to what we think could happen because we're so used to, just a linear spacecraft that's shaped like a penis or whatever, it takes off or whatever, we can't really comprehend the way those saucer craft work, but I do know that they're controlled by the Ankh. I know that the Ankh is the key to turning it on, and I know that the crook and the flail that the pharaohs used to have. One of them measures. One of them is a measurement device, and the other one moves the magnets around in the ark. And so you got the sarcophagi, and you'll see all the sarcophagi in Kemet in Egypt. They all got one corner where they're all, like a V, like it's been worn out. That's because they've been sticking that crook down in there, moving the magnets around in the box. And that's what gives propulsion. That's what helps to give propulsion to the magnetic starships. So that's why that sarcophagi in the Great Pyramid is like it is. Because the magnets go in there and then they fill up the Great Pyramid with I think hydrochloric acid or some kind of thing that causes a chemical reaction like in a battery, and then it explodes and it gives thrust to the magnetic starship so it can take off. That's just how it works, and that's why they say it looks like the interior walls of the Great Pyramid have been burned several times because it's been used for takeoff. So I'm sure they probably know how to operate those systems by now, especially with the Nazis,